He wanted your sister, actually.
We'll wait for another 5 minutes and then we'll begin.
और मैंने ये देखा है कि ये सब understand
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, we can begin now. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. My name is Mahima and I'll be your host for the session. Before we go ahead, I would request everyone to go on mute, and in case you have any queries during the session, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can drop that in the chat box. Also, I would request not to turn on your video cameras during the session. Okay, let me quickly take you through Tech Canvas. Tech Canvas is an IT certifications training organization for professionals, and we help them crack their certification exams in the first attempt. We are IIB endorsed and PMI authorized training partners. We offer certification trainings for various courses including CBAP, CCBA, ECBA, Agile, Business Data Analysis, PMP, CAPM, and we recently have launched professional Scrum Master training as well. Okay, today we have with us Ipsita, who is CSPO certified and has more than 13 years of experience in the industry. Over to you, Ipsita. Thank you all for joining in.
Great. Thanks for the introduction, Mahima. I'll quickly share my screen and maybe you can just confirm me whether you're able. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is.
Great. So today's session is basically about the confusion that most of us always have, whether to go for a Scrum Master certification or a typical project manager certification, or are they the same roles, or probably a Scrum Master is nothing but a project manager and vice versa. So these are very common things that is always around us whenever we are working in different projects. And the main intention of this webinar is basically to make you guys understand or give you the clarity about these two distinct roles. Of course, we are not going to prefer one role over the other, because everyone has their own career aspirations and probably their own career goals. But our aim from this webinar is to make very clear the different roles and responsibilities of a project manager as well as a Scrum Master, so that based on your preference you can pursue either of these roles. So without wasting any time, getting started with it. Now, a Scrum Master can be project managers, or a project managers can be Scrum Master. But one thing that we need to understand very clearly, that they are not the same thing. So it's not that, okay, a Scrum Master is nothing but a project manager, or a project manager is nothing but a Scrum Master. Both have very different roles and responsibilities in a project. However, a person who has been working as a Scrum Master can easily switch or become a project manager in some other project. That is absolutely fine. Or probably a project manager can play the role of a Scrum Master. That is also okay. But the roles and responsibilities are different. They're not going to play the same roles that they've been playing in their respective designations. So a Scrum Master, when we talk about, it's specifically to the Scrum team. So it all started with Agile, and as you know, so one of the major flavor of Agile methodologies is Scrum. So Agile has different flavors, so Scrum, Kanban, etc. But the most common one is Scrum, and that's what the name suggests. So Scrum Master is specifically designed for a Scrum team. Whereas when we talk about project managers, they can be leading any kind of projects. They can be leading a waterfall project, any fixed bid project, any T&M project. So it can be any project that a project manager can work on. However, a Scrum Master is only specified to a Scrum team, or typically in Agile projects which are following Scrum. The Scrum Master's primary focus is to lead the team following a Scrum principle. So again, a Scrum Master probably will not, dictate their team members, telling them what they should do or assign work to them, because as most of you already know that agile concepts are very different. So in agile we always talk about team empowerment. So definitely there is no a typical managerial hierarchy in any Scrum team. However, the main role of a Scrum Master is to ensure that everybody is following the Scrum principles, the Scrum ceremonies are happening in time, nobody in the team is facing any sort of problems. If they are, then how to mitigate those. Whereas when we talk about project managers, their role is more from a logistic aspect. So, what is the overall budget of the project? Are we on schedule, right? Then communicating to the customers, probably giving them a weekly progress of the work, maybe a weekly report. All the reportings, budgeting, even the resourcing is something that comes under a project manager's role. So there is more of a logistic point of view. And as we said, so Scrum Master is mainly about following the Scrum principles. Now, what does a Scrum Master do? So again, as we've already said, that it ensures that a project team is successfully implementing the Scrum principles in the project. So ensuring that, Agile is followed, the Scrum practices are followed. So a Scrum Master can lead any meetings, coach the team for the Scrum practices, and they can also support team members by resolving the issues that come up. So anybody facing any sort of problems, so Scrum Master is always there to help them to resolve any impediments. Also, Scrum Master, along with the product owner and development team, is one of the three roles of a Scrum team. So if you read about any Scrum team, so the main three roles when we talk about Scrum team is the product owner, who will probably give you the requirements, who will prioritize the product backlog, who will tell you which user story probably you need to work upon as a team. Next, we have the development team, which consists of my set of developers and my testing team. And we have Scrum Master, who is there in the team to ensure that, the Scrum practices are followed, removing any impediments. Also, before the sprint planning starts, it's Scrum Master who basically ensures what the velocity of that particular sprint is going to be, so that accordingly they would, the product owner can prioritize the stories and they can pick up. So, any holiday or leave planning of the team members. So all those are calculated by the Scrum Master as a part of velocity planning. And the specific tasks might include facilitating the daily stand-ups, the sprint planning, or the retrospective. So usually, since we do say that, Scrum Master is playing a neutral role, so facilitating the retrospective meeting definitely makes sense. They also address any kinds of issues that probably hinders the team member's capacity to work. So anything, right? So a new team member who joins the team probably doesn't have access to some specific, maybe doesn't have access to Jira. So, it's a Scrum Master's responsibility to ensure that all the required accesses are provided to them so that their work is not hindered. And then finally, last but not the least, fostering good communication and teamwork within the team. So ensuring that, there's a good team bonding and people are able to work, because as we say that in Scrum, we have this concept of sprints, and most of the time in projects, sprints are usually 2 to 4 weeks. So since your timeline to deliver is very time boxed, which is nothing but 2 to 4 weeks, you need to be the delivery team needs to be very active around it. So, and the Scrum Master is just helping around so that we do not waste any time. The team members are able to deliver, the development team is able to perform to their fullest. So that's basically the main aim. And of course, good communication, ensuring that there's good bonding and harmony is something which is important. Now, just talking about a Scrum and what exactly probably Scrum process is. So as we know that Scrum is basically a project management methodology which has come from Agile, and where change or unpredictability is expected. So we usually follow Scrum or Agile, basically the Agile itself, as the name suggests, because our requirements is never freezed, and that's what it is. So you keep on working in small sprints, and you deliver at the end of the sprint, you are able to deliver a working copy to your customer or your stakeholders. You get feedback from them, and then you work for the next iteration or the next sprint. So that's what your Scrum process continuously works upon. Now, if you see, this is a very common diagram that has been added here. Like anywhere you Google out about Scrum, this is the diagram that you'll always get to see. So of course, in Scrum we have something called as a product backlog, where all our requirements are captured. So all requirements about the product is being captured there. The product owner owns the product backlog. He or she is continuously refining the product backlog, prioritizing the product backlog, and this is a continuous process, because as we've said that requirements keep changing, and that's very true, because the market condition or the environment in which we are at this point, it's very rapid. So things keep changing every week probably. So that is one of the reason why companies these days are shifting from waterfall to agile. So that's what the main role of a product owner is, to ensure that the product backlog is prioritized. And then when the sprint starts, which is usually a 2 to 4 week sprint, wherein we do the sprint planning. So the sprint planning is one of the important Scrum ceremonies or Scrum event, wherein the product owner explains the user stories, the prioritized user stories that needs to be worked upon to the team members. And if anybody has any questions, probably those are all clarified during the sprint planning. Now, once the sprint planning is done, then the sprint backlog is finalized that, okay, like within this 2 weeks of sprint or the 4 weeks of sprint, the team is going to deliver 5 or 6 user stories. So that gets into the sprint backlog. And then probably the Scrum Master is the facilitator who is monitoring that, okay, the team is able to work, okay, and generating the different velocity reports, the sprint report or the burn down charts, etc. So that's the work of a Scrum Master usually. And then of course the sprint starts, wherein the designing, development and testing happens in a continuous cycle of the sprint duration. And on a day-to-day basis, the second most important Scrum event is the daily stand-up, wherein every day it's usually 15 minutes daily Scrum or the daily stand-up, wherein each and every team member would talk about what they have done yesterday, what they plan to do today, and if they are stuck or if there are any impediments that they have, they would talk about those. And if something that if they're stuck on some technical work, then so other team members might always come up and help them or give suggestions. Or if it is something which nobody is able to sort within the team, then they might approach the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master might go and take help from other team members or some technical architect in the company, and so on. So it's basically to ensure or to give a very transparent picture of the work in progress. And once that is done, at the end of the sprint, so the third most important Scrum event is going to be the sprint review, wherein the work that's been completed is actually demonstrated to stakeholders. So it's basically demonstrated to the stakeholders, and any feedback that they would get, it would be worked upon. And finally, it is the sprint retrospective, which is the last Scrum event, wherein the team basically retrospects about their work. So this is again something which usually is facilitated by the Scrum Master, wherein the team talks about what they have done well in the sprint, what probably didn't go that well within the sprint, what can be improved so that they can do better in the next sprint. So just a team retrospective kind of a thing, wherein each team member probably retrospects about the work that they have done and how they can improve. So that's basically overall Scrum, process, how it works. And if you see that every event that is there, the Scrum Master's involvement is always there. So he or she is involved in every aspect of that complete Scrum process. Now, Scrum, again, is a very common agile methodology. So mainly companies who adopt for agile, they usually use Scrum. Also, although there are other techniques like Kanban, extreme programming, etc., but Scrum is a very common one. Right. Now, in contrast, what does a project manager do? So, what exactly is a project manager's work? So, again, their work is to basically organize the team to ensure that the project is completed within the time, budget, and with all the goals which are fulfilled. So, usually they would lead meetings, they would create schedules, managing the budget. Also, they do a lot of resourcing, right? Billing different people, what the billing is going to be, that's how they basically manage budgets as well. So if it is a fixed bid project, how many resources are needed. And of course, they also do a constant communication with the team as well as the stakeholder, and eventually managing risk. So if it is going to be a waterfall project, then typically the project manager is the one who is usually communicating with the stakeholders, uh, and then generating different reports and stuffs. And typically project manager does get involved into the project scope, what the goal is. Whereas if I do a direct contrast with scrum master, a scrum master will never get involved into the scope or any kinds of requirements. And in case of project manager, again, maintaining that consistent communication with stakeholders, setting up the budget and the schedule, creating typical communication plan, and finally managing the risks. So probably they would list down the risks and then how do we mitigate those. So the complete project end-to-end delivery, from resourcing to budgeting to delivering in terms of the scope, in terms of any change requests that would come in between, everything is something that is end-to-end managed by the project manager. Now, typically a difference when we talk about, so Scrum Masters are exclusive to Scrum projects. So just to avoid any confusions, like any kind of Scrum projects that we do, and when we talk about Scrum projects, these are projects wherein you are doing work in terms of sprint. So you need to have a Scrum Master, right? And project managers can be working on any type of projects, like even in agile projects. If you're doing a Kanban, probably you can have a project manager managing it. And waterfall, definitely there would be a project manager. Now, while Scrum Masters are basically focused on making sure that a project team is successful, however, project managers are generally tasked with the logistics of making the budgets and the risks. Now, typically, what a Scrum project manager does, as we've already said before, so it's planning, defining of scope, right? Activity planning and sequencing, resource planning, developing the different schedules, time estimating, cost estimation, developing budget, doing a lot of documentation or ensuring that the documentations are done, creating different charts and schedules, risk analysis, managing risks and issues, monitoring and progress reporting. So usually the weekly status report or probably a monthly status report is usually created by the project manager, and overall the end-to-end team leadership is something that a project manager does. However, a Scrum Master is basically acting as a change event to ensure that the Scrum practices are followed, because most of the time it is like a environment or a drastic change for the team members who probably would work very new in agile project. So to ensure that the mindset change happens, because agile project is very different than that of waterfall, so they basically act as a change event, a change agent. They also ensure that the team members are productive, they're able to work every day, and they're able to complete the user stories that they have committed for the sprint. They ensure that there is good collaboration happening across the team. They would lead the daily stand-ups or the daily scrums and the retrospective. Any kind of team issues, it is the Scrum Master who addresses those. And the main the monitoring work probably would of a Scrum Master is to ensure that minimize any kind of disruption and minimize the work in progress. So to ensure that the work in progress is minimal. And why do we say that minimize the work in progress? So that I don't want to pile up a lot of work in progress and just keep it hanging there. As a team, I want to finish off the work. So probably I pick up a work, I complete it, I move it to done, and then I pick up the next one. So that's where it ensures that the work is being completed and it is, of course, not piled up. Now, since it is Scrum, it's going to be a 2 weeks or 4 weeks of a Scrum, the complete duration. So to ensure that my committed user stories are completed on time, it is very much important that we minimize the work in progress and ensure that everything is completed, and eventually updating the burn down chart. So of course these things would automatically, now if you're for if the team is using Jira or any other tool, project management tool, so then it's very easy to do it. But however, the main another most important task for a Scrum Master is to update the burn down chart, and probably at the end of the sprint they can see how much the team is able to complete, so that at the end of it they can understand where improvement is needed. So is the team committing a lot and not able to finish, or is the team under committing and probably they're finishing much before time? So to have that better clarity, it is important that they analyze the burn down charts, and of course address any kind of blockers and dependencies, and also to ensure the process adherences. So all processes are followed, and all the Scrum principles are followed to the core. Now, this is basically the salary structure from the different websites as on August 2021. So it's just for your benefit. So based on different sites, some statistical data that we have got for a project manager versus a Scrum Master. And this is a US salary structure. Of course, every different countries would have their different ways, but this is just for reference. Right. There are a couple of certifications as well. So if you want to go for the Scrum Master certification, you have CSM, which is Certified Scrum Master, and this is provided by Scrum Alliance, and it's very common and very popular one. Then we also have PSM 1 and PSM 2. So again, these are like two levels. We start with PSM 1 and then we go for PSM 2, and which is Professional Scrum Master, and this is provided by scrum.org. So again, both CSM and PSM are sort of similar. Now, based on your requirements or probably your interest, you can opt for it. And if you're going for any project manager certifications, we have the PMP, which is a very common one, and probably people have been doing this since ages. And this is administered by the Project Management Institute, and it is widely recognized as a leading certification for project management. And for this, you need to do at least 3 years of project management experience to qualify to give that certification exam. And there is another one, which is Certified Associate in Project Management, which is CAPM. This is also administered by the Project Management Institute. And this is basically an entry-level project management certification. You'll just need to have a secondary degree and 23 hours of project management training to qualify for this certification. So, of course, there are many other, but these are the most common ones that people go for. And again, based on your interest, you can opt for any. Now, if you are working in different, different roles, and you want to become a Scrum Master or a project manager, right? How do you usually go for it? So it's one very important thing is to take up a course, whichever you want to do, either a Scrum Master role or a project manager role. Take an online course or an in-person course, just to understand or have the basic foundational knowledge, because this webinar we have just given you a very high level idea about how it is, but to do an inbuilt or an in-depth understanding, it is important that you pick up a typical course to have clarity on the work that on the role basically. And then the next thing is building experience. So it's very important that you have a practical experience, although from the course you do understand a lot of concepts, but how do we implement it is very important. And the best thing is, in your existing organizations, if you can approach your HR or probably any your managers, your delivery heads, who can find projects for you wherein you can play the role of a project manager or Scrum Master. That is the best thing, because doing it in your existing organization will always help, because you already know that you're already working on it. Else probably you might have to opt in create a CV and try and give interviews for other organizations as well. But building experience within the own organization always helps, and it will give you a good practical experience. And the third important thing is getting certified. So whichever role you want to target for, get yourself certified, because that's where it will help you to get the typical, or to get the job that you're looking for. So with this, we come to an end. So any questions, I can just start addressing. Any questions, anyone? Or are there any questions in chatbot? I'll just check.
Hello.
Yes?
Yeah. Hi, this is Naneshwar.
Yes, Danish, you tell me.
Yeah. Just I would like to know the career after this. If we go for the project management, how is the hierarchy to grow the career?
Right. So ideally, if you want to go for a project manager, then it becomes a typical hierarchy, right? So you're a project manager, then probably you'll be a delivery manager, and then uh, a delivery head or a VP, and so on. However, in Scrum Master, it is very specific to Scrum roles. So maybe you are working as a Scrum Master for one specific team, but again. Gradually, after being playing the role of a scrum master, you might eventually switch into more of delivery, or probably more of an agile coach you can become. So that's where it is. So because things are becoming a little agile, or agile savvy, you might call. So if you are playing a role of a scrum master now, eventually for one particular project, eventually you do become a sort of an agile coach for the organizations, or enabling new teams to follow agile, or giving agile trainings and stuff like that.
Okay. And for Scrum Master, is there mandatory to have the technical skills?
No, not at all. So for Scrum Master, you go for any basic certifications, be it CSM or PSM. You just need to have very clear understanding of the agile concepts, which eventually would be a part of your course itself. A very clear understanding of Scrum, Agile, and it is not necessary that, or it is not mandatory that you need to have any technical experience. Not at all.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions, anyone?
Hello.
Yes.
And if you want to pursue the online training, what will be the cost and examination? Can you just explain about-
Okay, Mahima, you want to answer that?
Yeah.
The cost for, yeah. Mahima, you're there?
Yeah. Yes. The fees for the
Yes,
online
yes, I can.
training and examination fees for the both the levels.
One second. You're not audible. Just give me a second, huh? Hello. What were you saying?
Yeah. Just I'm asking that
Mhm.
if I wish to get the training, what will be
The
the
fees for the Tech Canvas online course for the Scrum Master certification is what he's asking.
Okay. One
yeah.
second.
I think the exam course, Danishwar, it's going to be like, I guess it's $250 or $150 based on scrum.org or Scrum Alliance, whichever you're going to do it. So in INR,
So
it's going
I
to
am
be
dropping, I'm just dropping the Scrum Master link in the chat box.
sure.
You can have a look. And also currently we are giving 25% off on all the courses of Tech Canvas. So it'll
Okay.
be, yeah, you can have a look. I've dropped in the chat box.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And from the Scrum Alliance or Scrum.org, I guess it is 21 or 25,000 INR
Okay.
for the
Okay.
exam. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
And I guess the CSM is just a 2 days training, and you just get yourself certified. However, the PSM, for CSM again, it is like I'm just giving you casual advantages and disadvantages. For CSM, it's very easy to crack because they just give you a 2 days training, and at the end there would be some set of questions and you can easily get yourself certified. But the problem is, you need to renew this certification every 2 years for CSM, which is from Scrum Alliance. However, if you're doing a PSM, which is from Scrum.org, you need to actually go through a proper training, and you have a proper level of examination. So you have PSM 1, you have PSM 2. However, it's like once you cleared it, it is there. So you need not renew your certifications ever. So once done, it's done. And PSM
Okay.
probably would be a little, like, if I compare both, I would say that PSM you need to put little more effort than CSM.
Okay. Okay. And for the CSM,
Mhm.
if renewal is there, then is there a syllabus uh, might be changed, or syllabus will be renewed based on the agile methodology?
Sorry, so CSM there is no level, it's just once, and you just need to renew it once you
Okay.
clear it. Every 2 years you'll renew it. For PSM there is level 1 and level 2, but you need not renew. So once you're certified forever.
Okay. Okay. So there is no expiration for this.
No, there is no expiration for PSM. CSM it is 2 years.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, anybody?
Yeah, what's the basic difference between like CSM and PSM? Having what advantages it provides?
Actually, there is no basic differences in terms of the course, if you say. It's just that two different institutions are providing it. CSM is Scrum Alliance and PSM is Scrum.org. And as I said, in case of CSM, there is an expiration set for your certification, because every year they're certifying it. Every 2 years you need to certify yourself. Why? Probably there is a logic behind it, because the Scrum guide keeps changing. So probably every 2 years they do publish a new set of Scrum rules or a new set of Scrum guide, which keeps changing. However, it's not a drastic change, but small bits and pieces in principles, in techniques does keep changing. So that is what it is. And PSM again, that also is where you follow the Scrum guide, but then it is like once you're done, you're done. It doesn't have any expiration for the certification, and it has different levels, of course. So your first basic level would be more about the different pillars of Scrum, and then how a Scrum Master usually would facilitate different Scrum events and stuff like that. And the level 2 would be a little more in depth. So PSM, probably, if you ask me, because it has two different levels, it is a little more elaborate than a CSM course.
So, ma'am, which one would be you consider us to be more valuable? Which one we will go for the same?
I would suggest that if you are new in Scrum, right, and you probably want to do a quick certification to get a job in Scrum or Agile, the most quick and easy one would be CSM. So just go for it, and then probably later on you can think of other certifications as well. But if probably you are already working as a scrum master, or you are working in an agile team for a couple of years now, maybe 5-6 years, so you have a very good idea about how agile works, how scrum works, then you can go for PSM. Like, if you're not in a hurry, then you can take your time, go through the study materials, and then probably go for the PSM level 1, level 2, wherein you get your basics cleared, you have an in-depth understanding, and on the job you're also trying and implementing it. But if you're actually looking for a job change right now, go for CSM immediately, which will help you, because these certifications are quite valuable in the market. So of course it definitely has weightage, both of them. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Any other questions, anybody?
Ipshita, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, Kalpesh, I can.
Yeah, Ipshita, my question is, I had also heard about the SSM part, that is a scale agile framework of Scrum,
Yes, correct.
right? And actually, I've been certified for that. My company has offered me, so it has a certification validations for 1 year. So does it makes any impacts while means like if you compare with the CSM, PSM, and the SSM part?
So CSM PSM is basically about Scrum Masters, right? This is a Scrum Master role. However, Scale Agile is a different concept altogether. So it's not specific to Scrum Master, but Scale Agile management is something which is a different flavor altogether, which tells you how the system should work. So if you're following a Scaled Agile methodology within the team, what are the principles, what are the rules? So it's not specific to a Scrum Master role. Anybody, even a business analyst or any of your team member, can go for Scaled Agile, because that will tell you how it works. It mainly talks about doing frequent releases, which makes sense. Many companies are opting for it because they want to do frequent releases. So Scaled Agile is always clubbed with continuous integration and continuous deployment, which is CI/CD. That is what the buzzword is these days. So it's like, it talks about how frequent releases you do, and when you are doing frequent releases, how you manage it all around as a team. So that is what that concept is. However, the one that we are talking here now is mainly about a Scrum Master role. So it's a Scrum Master certification. However, your SSM is not a Scrum Master certification. It's typically a Scaled Agile management.
Okay. But considering globally, does the SSM has a value in the market, right?
Yes,
Can I pitch myself? Because I'm currently working as a lead business analyst in my organization. Okay. But even though working as a business analyst, I do sometimes plays as a role of a Scrum Master. I do take a part of like iteration planning. I do take a part of like a sprint retrospective, as well as the sprint feedback and all those things. So will this role means like, will this certification will be valid for me, and means like can I pitch myself as a role of a Scrum Master?
Yes.
Nevertheless, I'm trying myself to being as a product owner or a product manager.
Yeah, I was about to ask that, because since you're playing a role of a lead business analyst, a CPO probably would be better for you. Because that's a new role that probably IIB, a new certification, I would say, that IIB has launched in July 2021. And that's quite good. It is certified professional product owner course. So you can opt for that. You can go for any CSPO and PSPO as well. But just go, like, since you are looking for a product owner role, I would say just Google out the new IIBA, this one as well. So that will be more closer to you, because you're a business analyst. So that will be more sensible from my perspective, I would say, because since you already know how to handle your iteration planning and stuff like that. So just if you want to increase your list of certifications in your CV, you can go for Scrum Master, not a problem. But because your current profile is a lead business analyst, product owner certification makes more sense.
Okay, fine. And one difference which I found it during this, the CSM is more about like sprint planning, sprint retrospective, whereas SSM we have iteration planning, iteration retrospective.
Yes, because scaled agile doesn't actually tell you that you need to follow Scrum. You can follow anything. In SSM, you can even follow Kanban and follow go through SSM.
Yes. Okay, so it's a hybrid kind of a model, right? So if it all is required, yes, we do support the waterfall as well as if it has a dependency to be created.
No, not waterfall. It is agile, but agile has flavors. Agile has Kanban, agile has extreme programming, agile has Scrum. So it can be any of the agile flavors. However, CSM is only specific to one flavor, which is Scrum. That's it.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else from anyone? I think we have Varun. And
I have one question.
Yes, Varun.
I'm currently working as a tax associate in one of the big four.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you prefer? Is like project management or Scrum Master? Since I have never had a idea or I never worked with project management or Scrum Master things. So, what do you prefer for me?
So if you, again, big four, you're working, but it's more about auditing and stuffs, right? But then are there any projects where...
No, actually, but yeah, since a few months ago, I changed my profile. But yeah, since I'm working in an auditing firm, but I'm not fully into technical parts like US tax.
Okay.
I was working for now, just supporting the US team. That's it.
Okay. So you can go for a CSMC. Again, these are, people would have different thoughts, but you can go for, like, if you want to quickly change your role, you can go for the Scrum Master certification, any one of these. That might help because it gives you, because I'm telling industries more, IT industry is more into agile these days. We hardly have any waterfall projects. Even the ones which are there, people are trying to follow a hybrid model and just try to tag it as a, more of an agile. So since agile is the growing trend in the market, you preferably can go for the CSM or the PSM, whichever, based on whichever way you want to go for. So Scrum Master would make more sense than a project manager, but definitely you can always even go for a project manager because that opens out for you, that gives you a more a broader prospect of any kind of projects, be it waterfall, be it agile, anything. So probably options would be more. But if you talk about the IT trend now, people do prefer the Scrum Master's role more than that of a project manager. So project managers definitely are there, they will always be there, but the trend is a little changing these days.
Okay, thanks for your insights, Ipshita.
Yeah, hi Ipshita, this is Shiva here.
Yes, Shiva.
It was a very informative session to start off with, and my question is, I am a business analyst and I have 12 plus years of experience, and currently I'm a lead business analyst. Okay. And yes, of course, product owner is one of my aspirations. But I have a notion that product owner is something who would be sitting at a client's place and not at the vendor place, IT vendor place. So given that assumption, so would you think that CBAP would be better for me or a CSPO would be better for me? Because I am working in a software organization where I serve for all insurance clients and I don't sit at the insurance company place.
Got it. So
CBAP. Sorry to interrupt you. Okay, adding to his question, I just want to ask whether this product owner would be only for the product specific company or even a service oriented company can be also having the product owner.
Right. So usually maximum times product owners are for product specific companies. Now for service specific companies, as Shiva mentioned, right, mainly they are from your customer side. 90% of the time. And now because the service companies, they need to have somebody at their end, so they call them as lead business analyst or BAs, or sometimes they also name them as proxy product owners, and then they probably would do the coordination amongst. But mostly if you talk about product owner, he's right. Usually on a practical sense, they are from your customers or from the product side, because they are the ones who are basically prioritizing the product. However, if you look for typical product companies, like any typical big product companies, they would definitely have a product owner, because one product, any big product you launch, you need to have a typical product owner. So that's where it is. But even if you want to do any of the companies you want to go for, whichever role you want to go for, the product owner certification is always helpful. So even like business analysts, people do hire, because one more thing again, in any of the job portals, if you see, they would ask you, the requirement, they would say that we are looking for a product owner. But when you read the description, it is mainly a typical lead BA or any proxy product owner would do. So those roles and responsibilities are very similar to that of a business analyst, even for those product owners. Because if you say in a true sense, product owners are from the product company, so that's there.
Yeah.
But certification point of view, it has weightage, be it whichever role you go for. Yeah.
And just to fine tune it further. So, given my situation, which one do you it would be a best suited, a CBAP or a CSPO in this sense? So
See,
the
I
reason
would
why
say that, CBAP, you are already playing a role of a business analyst, right? So you know the basic concepts of what it is. So CBAP is mainly about business analyst and, fine tuning that different Babcock books and everything. But I would prefer that you go for a CSPO role, or as I said it to Kalpesh as well, check out for the CPOA as well, because that's also a very good in-depth agile product owner certifications that they are providing, and the content of that CPOA is quite in-depth. So you can just go for that. That will help, because that will have more weightage as per the current trends.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Ish.
Okay. Clifford has his hand raised. You can ask your question.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to understand a few points regarding with the PSM1 and PSM2. Now, with as you said that to do that particular PSM1 and PSM2, would there be any criterias for somebody to do that, or is it like even a person who is a fresher can do a PSM1 and PSM2?
Yes, there's no criteria. Anybody can go for it. Just that you need to understand, you need to prepare yourself to appear for it.
Okay, and so basically this PSM1 and PSM2 is just a kind of an what do you call it? A video kind of a thing which you all explain to us about the entire course. Do you require a certification kind of stuff later down the line? Is there a particular
yes
portal
so
that we
what
need to go through?
Tech Canvas is providing is basically, that is what Tech Canvas is providing, right? A sort of a video wherein we are explaining you. But then to get yourself certified from scrum.org, you need to give that exam, which is from the scrum.org, and then get yourself certified.
Okay, so you're basically help us get through that particular certification, or it's just an overall view of what exactly the Scrum is all about, and that's about it. What about the what do you call it? The necessary course materials or any prior questionnaires that scrum.org or whatever, whichever.
Yes. So we basically yes, we provide you a question bank, I guess, which has around 500 or odd questions, and there's the scrum.org, the Scrum guide basically that we will be providing, and the videos, those are there, right? So it's like it's divided into different chapters. So the chapters which are there in the course, based on those, the videos have been created. So it's an end-to-end bit altogether.
Okay, and Does a person need to do a PSM1? Can the person directly do a PSM2?
No, you need to complete your first level, and only then you can go for the second one.
Okay.
Because that's how it is here.
And can that whoever is in charge of this particular what do you call it? The session, can somebody just forward me what exactly would be the fees for the PSM1 and PSM2, and what would be the the duration for both those courses?
Sure. Mahima, I think she's already sent a link. Just see if
I'm
that
not too
has
sure.
everything.
I've not checked it right now.
Okay. I think that has the complete payment, the fee structure and everything. Yeah, for the PSM. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay then. I guess Mahima, that's it.
Yeah, we are good to wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for
Thank you,
joining.
everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Apsara. Thank you.
Will
Thanks.
this session be available, Miss Recording?
Sorry, I missed.
He's asking the recording of the session, where and when it will be available.
Okay, the recording will be available on our YouTube channel. I'll drop a link to that channel as well. 1 second.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I have dropped the link. Thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you. Bye.
The recording has stopped.